This is my how to make a false bottom video. I got my 100-gallon tank, and it used to be over here. I just pushed the bed over in my reptile room, and so I got my egg crate here. I got my tank. Egg crate, as I mentioned in the other video, is pretty hard to find, and it's not as easy to cut. But what you're going to want to do is, you could just use a tape measure, but it's just kind of easier for me to visualize if it's on top of the tank here. But you're going to want to make sure that the back edge, since I'm not going to be seeing the back edge at all, and you're going to actually want to line up the egg crate with the inner, the back edge of the glass, or in my case the acrylic. And then you're going to want to leave a good gap so that you can fill this up with rocks instead of just seeing a black felt. I don't know, it just look a bit better, I think. It's also what J Grim did. J Grimmer is his YouTube channel name. I just was watching his videos, and he actually kind of made a video about this, but he just shows the finished false bottom and how he did it. But I'm actually making a video of the process of making one. So you're going to want to have your egg crate, your tank, and some scissors. And what you're going to want to do is, after you measure that out, go ahead and find which ones you're going to want and cut them. I'm just cutting on the inner edge right here, and it pretty much just breaks it. I mean, like, it's not going to actually cut, it just snaps it and it flies away. And so don't plan on using that extra space. You know, just know that it's going to pop off like that. And what I'm actually going to do is use this big section here for the sides to make it elevated, and then use this section for the shorter sides. So it's, you know, rectangle box without a lid pretty much, but upside down. So then what I'm going to show you next is the finished product. This is it. I finished snapping off all the edges. It's got a good half-inch gap between the acrylic and the actual false bottom. Lines up nice and flat. With that side, it's going to be about half land, half water, a little bit more land, because I'm going to include some really cool stuff for the land part. Note, there is going to be a lot of cleanup because the little pieces do go flying, and I mean flying. They take off. I had a couple hit me in the nose and the eye, and it kind of hurts. So I got my trash can here, and I'm going to clean it up. And to the hard part, which was actually putting it in the tank. So there it is. It's inside the tank right now. I don't know if you could see this, but there's these holes here, and then there's actual egg crate, and how that does not fit. Took me quite a lot to get it in there. I even had a little casualty there and there, but that's just going to go to the back edge, and it should be fine. Then I also took my two long pieces, or my one long piece that was from the one big piece that I cut off of the longer edge, and I shortened it down. And of course, keeping in mind that those do break off, so these are now perfectly even. And I'm going to do that with the longer portions on this one. I actually got about that much extra. Think about making a small little island for the corner or something, I don't know. But next is the super hard part, which is actually going to be making it inside the tank. So that'll be the next part of this video. Here is the smaller section that I made. I took all the leftover pieces that I had and measured them out. It's actually going to be 1 square shorter than my main one, which is 4 squares. This one's 3. And it's going to go right over here in that, back in that section. So this was just all the extra that I had. I just took some zip ties, and on the corners, it kind of wants to move around a lot, the top. pretty much just made the bottom square, and then I added the top. And then, well, first I gotta cut off all these tails. So that's what the finished product of this one looks. I put one in the middle on the longer piece for extra support. And then I ran into kind of a problem. As I mentioned earlier, this does not just doesn't just pop right out. It's I couldn't even take it out right now if I tried. I mean, probably breaking it. But so what I had to do is take all of these pieces, and I'm zip tying them together out here, and I'm going to make it so that they can fold together so I can slip it back into the tank. And but right now, using some problem-solving skills, and I'm going to measure out a piece of PVC that's going to go in the middle here for extra support because that's a fairly large piece. I did use some of these rocks to test on this one, and they're I'm not worried about that whatsoever, but that'll be next is the PVC. And voila! I got my PVC, it's the right height, and I already cut notches in it so that the water doesn't become stagnant, just like Jay Grimmer said, which makes complete sense to me. And then I actually already cut the felt that's going to go over it. So pretty much what I got to do now is get this in the tank, and then get this in the tank, and then make sure all the zip ties are put together and zip tie the lid, or the top on. And then the even harder part, which would be to put the felt on inside the tank. And then this, I actually did some measuring, and this is actually 1/3 scale model exactly of the bigger ones, which is pretty cool actually. So the next section will be putting the felt on inside the tank. And here is the finished product. It's got all the weed blocker on it. It's kind of hard to tell because it's all black, but got a nice little hole here, which I will show you about that in a second. But yeah, here it is. I made it so it actually can kind of turn around in the tank, which is nice. There's the hole I was talking about. Just used zip ties to hold the weed blocker on. I think Jay Grimmer used aluminum wire or something. I did not have access to that in the time that I was making this video, or making the false bottom. I don't know if it would be better. The zip ties were kind of hard to, like, I actually used a scissor to make a hole first and then put the zip ties through. But yeah, I got my support, and then this just goes right on top like that, and I've got my gap on this side, my gap on the front. But what the hole is for is my waterfall / filter. I need to get better lighting in here. There. You can kind of see it. That's going to be it right there. So, I'm actually going to try and make a little river system that's going to go through here, kind of around the front, and then into this section. So. But, yeah, there it is. That's my false bottom. Or both of them, I should say. But, yeah.